that feminine, masculine, and so I wanted to just talk a tiny bit more about it. I think one of the biggest things we can remember about the feminine and the masculine is that at their best, they work together and they're aligned and they support each other by the feminine giving the masculine the permission to be, that the masculine doesn't have to only do, that by just being, they are worth it. They are worthy to be, to stand, to talk, to live. And the gift of that in each person, the gift of being able to give yourself that feminine acceptance in yourself is truly remarkable. And then at the best, the masculine is taking that acceptance and that love and that feeling of being nurtured and creative and is saying, I'm confident enough to take this out into the world and to continue giving myself permission to act out of love, out of confidence, out of believing that I'm good. And the power of an action that comes not from trying to prove, but because you already know you're good and you're acting in a sense of I am good, I do good, I deserve good, that changes everything. It changes the person and it changes the people that are interacting with the person, and it changes communities and the world. And that's why I think the masculine and the feminine, really understanding how they can be empowered together, is so beautiful. The problem is that to give yourself that inner feminine permission, it's hard if you haven't accomplished in the masculine way. And oftentimes accomplishing in the masculine way without that inner feminine is not going to be very mature in the masculine, but it still can be successful. You can think of hundreds of examples just in your personal life of people that are really good at doing, at succeeding, at achieving, and yet have no moral compass or integrity or kindness or that win-win mentality. They're supporting only themselves, where that inner feminine is what's going to change it into, I support myself, and the better I do that, the more I support the collective. The more I am seeing that it's not a win-lose, it's a win-win. That's where we're all going to thrive. And because you don't have to have a mature masculine to succeed in the masculine, it can then be hard to develop the feminine. And there was a point earlier in my marriage before my partner and I had really realized any of this, and we were very strongly acting out in our roles as the woman in the relationship, me being more of that immature feminine and needing a lot of permission and acceptance and validation from the masculine. And the masculine was in the immature, and so the man in the relationship not only couldn't give that to me, but he couldn't give that to himself. And so there was just a lot of friction because he was also needing to be approved of and accepted just as he was, but the only way he could give that to himself was by succeeding the masculine, and the only tools he had to do that were the immature masculine, which says I'm always in the one-up. And then the immature feminine was accommodating to say, if I'm going to get what I need to survive, then I'm going to show up as the one down so that I can have safety and protection and love from this masculine. And the moment that shifted everything for both of us was we were having a fight of that exact thing, of him feeling not validated or seen in his role of trying to create safety and security for me, and me feeling not seen or validated in my role of trying to help us thrive in our lives and feel fully alive and connected, and that there was love growing. And so we were having having this argument, and he was saying to me that I am a certain way. And what he was telling me was something that was really hurting the idea of my feminine. He was telling me that I was high maintenance in my desire, which is definitely something we believe about the feminine. That the feminine can be dramatic and intense and needy and all these things. And the immature feminine is all of those things. And that was so painful for me, because most of the reasons I was really pushed into that role were in my mind just to get what I needed and to support him and to love him. So as I was wanting him to see me clearly and see how I'm not that way, I'm fighting back with him, saying that's not true, like how can you think that? All of a sudden I heard this question, and it almost felt like I was out of my body, because it was so different than anything I'd ever really thought before. And the question said, you might never be good enough for him. He might never love you just as you are. Could you be good enough for you? Could you love yourself as you are right now? Maybe you are high maintenance. What if that's true? Could you love yourself how you are right now? And when I heard those words, it was such a soft knowing. It wasn't like it came blazing in with this, like, I have to be right, and now I know everything. It was so soft and so full of love and just a question. And I stopped fighting with him, and that day changed the rest of my life so far. That was about 8 years ago, and I started to really develop and get interested in the feminine energy in each of us. And as I did that, I started to give the mature feminine, which was permission and love and confidence in what I had to offer from the inside, which was acceptance and love, to the masculine in myself and in my partner. And he naturally changed, because that feminine acceptance from confidence, not acceptance like you can treat me however you want and I'm never going to stand up for myself, but acceptance of treating him with respect and love, and also treating myself with respect and love in every single moment, and deciding not to keep walking down those paths of going into our immature identities as the woman and the man. And it just changed everything. And the reason that story really shows a lot is because you can see that the power of accepting yourself and others and the situation as it really is that mature and upgraded feminine. And sometimes that has to come first before the true masculine can really thrive. And it seems a little counterintuitive, and that's why a lot of the work of the shadow work is what people call it, the work of looking at the parts of you that you really don't want to look at, that feel hard, the parts of you that you have kind of shamed and hidden. And an easy way to find those parts of you is, what do you not like in other people? What drives you crazy? What makes you so mad in other people? There's a really good chance that is the thing that you have shamed in yourself, and that you do have that quite a bit, and that you don't want to look at it. And so start to look at it. And when you find it, you say to it, this could be the worst of me. I hate it. I can't even barely see this in myself because it makes me so ashamed. And then to ask yourself, if this is the worst of me, can I love myself? If I never change again, if I stay this way the rest of my life, will I be able to love myself? And I think for most of us, the answer could very well be yes. Obviously, if you were doing something that really harms someone else or yourself, the answer should be no. But for most of us, we're really trying hard to be our best selves. And we don't do a great job, but the desire is there. The desire to be our best self is there. So each of you have the mature feminine and masculine in you, and you each have the immature feminine and masculine. And just becoming aware of where you're showing up in each, and when you feel defensive, when you feel like you want to suppress your emotions, your intuition, that knowing, remind yourself that that is natural, that we all have that first impression of the feminine, that it's weaker, that we should hide it. And just sit with that feeling for a minute, that discomfort, and ask yourself if there's a different way. Could I see myself right now with kinder eyes? And knowing the more you do that, the more confident and powerful you'll feel in the outer world as well. The inner feminine always helps the outer masculine to succeed. And then you're having success on the inside and the outside. That's win-win. Anytime I find a situation in my life that feels win-win for me and for the people that are going to encounter me and be in my life, and for my community and for the world, I always feel like that is like the God star, the North Star. Point my compass there. Anyway, I hope you guys have such a great day. Thanks for listening.